guys, this is Dr. Callahan for Algebra 2, Semester 2. Welcome to week 19 Thursday. How are you guys doing? Go ahead and pause the video and answer the following 3 questions for your warm-up log. Keep in mind your warm-up log is due on Friday. All right, so let's just kind of jump right in. So if you were not here last class, we went ahead and finished, or not finished, but we continued on with your study guide for your instructional material. We started at question number 32, and then we basically ended at question number 40. So if you missed that video, make sure you guys watch it on week 19 Wednesday for the 10 questions that we covered. So now we're going to go on to week 19 Thursday. So this is your day 6 of your study guide. I want to start off with questions number 41. So today's lesson, you're going to need highlighters and also a TI-84 graphing calculator. So make sure you have those items. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So number 41 is right here on the very bottom of your study guide. And we're going to take a look at this. So find g of h and h of g if g of x equals 5x, h of x equals 3x plus h. So there are 2 parts to this. This is part A and this is part B. So for part A, it's g of h of x. So you basically work from the inside out. So I'm going to start off with the inside. H of x is equal to 3x plus 8. So I'm going to replace it with a 3x plus 8. Then I look on the outside. On the outside, I have a g, so that's 5x. So whenever there is a 5, or I'm sorry, x, you're going to replace that x with 3x plus 8. Distribute it, you get 15x plus 40. So far, the only answer that I have for this one, for g of h of x, is either going to be, well, that's the only one that has it. So I'm assuming that's probably my correct answer. But just to make sure, let's make sure that the h of g of x is 15x plus 8. So let's go ahead and start that one. So this one is h of g of x. So you're going to work from the inside out. The inside is g of x. G of x is going to be 5x. Equal to h of x is going to be 3x plus 8. So wherever there is an x, we're going to replace that with a 5x plus 8. And if you multiply it, it does equal to 15x plus 8. And that is your answer. So it's B as in boy. (42) Which point here lies on the graph of the inverse of the function? So if you're trying to find the inverse of this, the inverse will go ahead. You can find it if you draw like a diagonal line. And if you can imagine this green graph kind of like flipped over this diagonal line, it would kind of look like this, right? So then thinking about this, where are these points going to be located? -1, 1 is going to be like right over here. -2, 4. Or -1, -1 most likely will be it, because it actually looks like that might actually be on the graph. If you're not sure, we can kind of extend this. If this is 2, this is going to be a -2. If that's 4, this has to be a -4. If this is a +2, this is a -2. If that's a +4, that's a -4. Okay, so then -2, +4 is going to be up here. That's not on the graph, so not B. 412 is going to be all the way up here. That's not on the inverse, which is not on the purple graph. And then 93, that's all the way over here, and that's not even touching anything. So my bet is on A, but just to make sure that this is correct, let's take a look at the answer for number 42. For number 42, actually, no, the answer is D. So let's go back and see where we went wrong with this. D is 9-3. Oh, you know what? My bad. Actually, if I were to go ahead and graph this, if I were to reflect it over this line, because if I were to fold this green thing over, like fold it over this way, it actually looked like this. So yeah, I did that incorrectly, so I apologize. So just imagine symmetrical. If I were to fold along this purple line, would this green graph overlap with this lime green graph? And in this case, it would. So the correct answer is going to be D as in dog. So it's a good thing I checked it because that was wrong. Number 43, find the inverse of this. So remember when we talked about inverse, first you want to do is you want to do y, change the f of x or y equals negative 7x plus 6. Now you're going to solve for x. If you solve for x, you subtract the 6, divide it by the 7, negative 7. And the last thing that you're going to do is replace that x with f of negative 1 of x equals, replace the y with an x. So you just kind of go back to the original equation. And at first looking at this, nothing matches, but I do know that's either B or D because those are the only two with a fraction. And so then what I'm going to do is think about if I were to take out that negative 7 and make that into a positive 7. On top, you have a negative x and then a positive 6. So that one actually matches B as in boy. Number 43, if we're going to find the inverse of this, it's the same thing. Y equals x squared plus 5. Solve for x. Y minus 5 equals x squared. Square root both sides. You have y minus 5 equals x. Replace the x with a y. So it is going to be the square root of x minus 5, which is f of negative 1 of x, which is the inverse, plus or minus because you square rooted it. And so the only one that works in this case is going to be A as in apple. Number 45, which equation is represented by the graph below? Now, you could do this one of several ways. You can graph it on your graphing calculator, or you can use transformation. Well, given the fact that this line right here is at a positive 1, I would imagine that it's either going to be a B or a D. So if you want to check to make sure which one is the answer, look at number 40. I actually forgot. Number is it 45? Yeah, it's B as in boy. So why is this one B as in boy? There are very subtle differences. There's not a lot of time. The only difference between that one is 2 and 3, negative 3, and negative 2. So there's actually not a ton of changes or differences there. However, if you were to go ahead and graph this, so grabbing your graphing calculator, here's mine. You should be able to see yours right there. So y is equal to, if I grab the first one, 2 times 4 caret x minus 1, bring the right arrow down, plus 1. So that's going to be B, and it's going to be on the blue. Now, in the red, you're going to graph D as in dog. So 3 times 4 caret x minus 2, bring that down. And I just realized I made a typo here because I put minus 1, and that's a 3. So there we go. Reuse the right arrow, bring it down, plus 1. So let's go ahead and graph both of these equations and see which one actually looks similar to that. So there is the blue one, which is B as in boy. And then there is the red one, which is D as in dog. It looks like the red one is skinnier than the blue one. And also if you take a look at this, which my picture disappeared, but that's okay. I'm actually going to change the window a little bit so I can see a little bit better on top. So going down to Y max, I'm going to push 10. And then graph it one more time. So look at the little tick marks of where the blue and the red are and compare that to your graph that is on this picture. And ask yourself, which one does it match a little bit closer to? Okay, so if I bring that up right here, if you take a look at this here, Do you see how that's 1, 2, and then it kind of goes up? So at 1, 2, do you see how the blue graph goes up, but the red graph is kind of skinnier than that? And then here at 1, 2, 3, it hits this point right here, and that point is at 3, 2. So on this graph, 1, 2, 3 is the graph at 3, 2. Yes, it is. So the blue one is actually the accurate one, which is going to be D as in dog. Or I'm sorry, no, it's not. It's B as in boy. Sorry, blue comes first. So that one's B. Okay, so for number 46, what I want you guys to do is you're going to try number 46, 47, 48, 49, and 50 on your own. You guys can go ahead and work on these. And if you would like to check your answers, go over to the very back and you have the answers given to you right there. So when you guys are completed, make sure you guys are done with number 50, and then we will continue on with 51 to 60 next week. All right, you guys, I hope you have a wonderful week. And other than that, just keep on studying and study for your final and catch up on your warm-up log if you have extra time. All right, take care.